Welcome back, Kip. You're muted.
All right. Well, there we go. Are we live?
We are live, my friend.
All right. It's a pleasure to be back, guys. Ken and Leighton. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. We want to hear an update. I mean, you've been doing a lot of work over the last year, and so I know you're in a winter's grind now. But love to hear. Give us an update on what you've been working on.
Oh man, so much. My brain don't stop trying to figure out how to present all of the information, and I just figured out it can't all be presented at once. So I've got some highlights. Did a little bit of video and put some stuff up on YouTube the last couple of days. One of them that we'll start with here in a little bit is a little update on the farm, because I know a lot of times we introduce. I've been on the show, of course. A lot of our people know who I am, what I'm doing, but I am a compost producer here. Our product is about to be put on shelves here real quick. It just basically got all of our full approvals, and our numbers are looking like what I want them to look like. So in the process of designing some logos, stickers. We just recently got the bags. We're going to make it available in 1 cubic yard bags and some 1 cubic foot bags. It's kind of to put on shelves of grow shops and whatnot, and get it in people's hands. So there's that. There's getting more material together and getting all the grow beds around the property here treated, built, improved. The Wallapini's doing real good. It'll be on the little tour video. And the first one, I'll put some volume in there. I'll have Ken put volume in there. So we'll just do our best I don't talk a lot in it, but we'll just kind of shut up when he talks. And I think we can kind of keep the volume through it. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, I don't know. Anything before we get in there?
No, I think we could dive right in, my friend. No reason not to.
All right, and here's a little introduction. Or an update, actually. Yeah, some of the beds.
Hey, we're out here in the front yard today, December 27th, 2025. Birds are singing. It's a beautiful day. I have to apply an extract to the garden beds. These are recently built this season, fall, late summer. These beds were put together, and I put a cover crop on them. You can see them in the background. Squirrel tree here. You can see faintly the pond in the background. And in the other background far are the beds we put together at the beginning of last season. So they're maturing into their second season now. So we're going to apply an extract now. I did a video on the results of the scan, the microscopic scan of the extract, and I'll get it up if I can. So what I'm doing here, this is diluted. That's probably, I made 8 gallons of extract total, and I ended up with probably 50 gallons of applied material, maybe 60. I've been diluting it and applying it to several of the beds, but I did want to show where you can see where I'm kind of freshening it up before I put it in the can. I suggest you get a really good can. This can is malfunctional in a lot of ways, but it's what I have. Narrow pouring spout, handle in the way, easily spill, lose product. The head can get clogged. That's pretty typical of any of them, but some just seem to have a better spread on them. They don't get clogged as easy. And longer neck, things like that. But this is set for a while, so I'm going to freshen it up. I like to get a consistent batch each time when I apply it.
Good thing I freshen it up each time, because I just
walk to the bed, sprinkling some on.
I grabbed the other bucket than the one that I had mixed up. How does that sound to talk over the video, guys?
You're all right. It's good.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Yeah.
do you use your time machine?
Yes, I did. Yes. So I'm not sure. I've been playing with YouTube and my videos and editing all week when I can. I'm still am working.
The raised beds. We don't want to create compaction in our beds. This is bin setting. I'll give it a stir. Oh, I got a pair of glasses in the bottom of there too. Forgot about that. They'll be coming out on one of these pours.
So what I did with my watering can was I drilled 1/8-inch holes
Oh yeah.
over every single hole, and it works great because I had the same issue. The little sediment would get clogged.
You gotta just shake the heck out of it, or do a little bit extra sifting, which I'm not really trying to reduce organic matter application. You know, I want more. So every time
those little chunks of carbon are like the condominiums. So you want it chunky if you can.
Hopefully real soon, and that'll really nestle it in real good. There's some nitrogen and some snow. Let's kick some things off. There's some glasses. Yeah, really be able to see out of there. I threw that mud water. This extract is chock full of fungi and different amoeba, flagellates, bacteria.
So what was your strip material? Was it one of your compost piles?
Yes, the love compost was the main. What I did is I sifted my love compost down to a 1/4-inch sift.
Okay.
Before I put it in the machine, and that took me down by volume. It looks like I didn't weigh it, but looking at it, it was a little over half wood chips, and then
about it was the diversity. I did a video, like I was saying. I'm gonna get it put up, and I just kind of left it. It's a wild ride. It moves fast, but I just wanted to scan through there and just kind of get a look at all the humic and fulvic acids, the huge amount of organic matter, the biochar you can see in there. I found a nematode, which is not a lot, but one nematode does give you biocomplete status. Along with the other organisms that are present. And that's what you're looking for, is a well-rounded, diverse set of soil food web microorganisms that are going to allow nutrient cycling to take place in the soil. So in early growth stages, the more the better. Once a week, but one time can make a huge difference.
So did you add any kelp to that mix?
I did. I added.
By the way, I can scan your soil and take a sample and take a look at it and see what type of life is present. We can kind of assess the health of the soil from there.
Yeah, I added a little bit of kelp meal. I added a little bit of soluble seaweed extract. I added a little bit of EM1. I need to get some more hydrolysate. That was really the home run that I'm missing there on that deal, but I wasn't going to let it stop me from getting it done. That's kind of one of them. Got to do it when I can, when I'm in the mood. It's about a 4 or 5 hour deal, but got to get everything together, run the time machine, sift everything. And
get these beds over here. Man, this the cover crop has been a great addition. This has been a beautiful thing. Last year was basically everything was like this. I didn't put cover crop here. I just kind of reshaped this to allow water to transfer into these walking channels, and it'll absorb, it'll fill, it'll go down to the next. You can see the same concept here. This is all downhill from up. Everything's downhill from up. But as water travels through, it'll rise, and I've got low channels created, and it'll penetrate to the next situation, absorb, and water may never leave my property if we don't get a lot of rain. So far, it's been great. Just getting it going. And here,
nice. That's a big improvement.
Topography. This has been rechanged. I'm kind of I'm playing around with capturing some water here, kind of almost a pond situation. There's a hole in the ground there, pretty neat. I'll rebuild that in another episode. These beds have not been heavily amended. Built the soil pretty quick, used what I had, incorporated some leaf mold, a little bit of aged mulch, some organic matter, and actually some haydite over here. So experimenting with that. Peach trees, if anybody knows anything about, I'm trying to decide on a shape. Watch it, Pole. Watch where I'm going. Trying to decide on a shape for these trees, how I'm going to take them. I'd love to see really low, wide branching, but not so much. I need to aim it to where this other tree doesn't end up. I'm going to take it off of here for a moment. Let's take a look here. Any of y'all got any suggestions? You got some really old growth, really new growth. As far as I know, I can kind of choose from here which ones I want to keep, kind of train them out. And the same over here. I got a lot more to choose from. We've got some really mature. These are a little over 2 years old. I bought them at 2 years old and just put them in the ground late last season. So, we got a north, south, west, and east branching that we can really take advantage of here. This one, we can pick some out. But real curious if anybody wants to help guide me on that a little bit. I'm learning. Okay. Just quick, might as well take a peek at these beds over here real quick.
So you ever heard of scrogging?
I'm playing with some drip.
Yeah, like espalier more for fruit trees, I guess is the way I've seen it termed, and then scrogging for our cannabis beds, I guess is
Lantana.
but all the same thing, scrop. So you could kind of take that canopy and let it crawl.
Yeah, just train it downward so the branches learn to grow out horizontally instead of vertically up. And that helps to open up the sun.
Tomatoes this year versus last year. We had the tomatoes over here.
You've done a lot of work, my friend.
Yeah, they were climbing in these two beds, the middle.
Yeah, so you can see why.
And I'm going to move you
behind on little bits and pieces of everything, but I'm gradually picking up everything. Well,
here.
Dude, like when I first met you, that was just a mess over there.
Windows against the bank to build some little.
I remember you showing me that wall. I was like, okay, what are you gonna do with that?
Love to do some espalier.
Nothing. I don't know. Nothing for a while until I have to. I guess I'm banking on it staying. It's less. There's a lot of 90 degrees is the way they maintain them. If you go less, it's going to erode.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm complimenting you on how much you've actually accomplished.
Okay, yeah, it's a really nice day, but this thing's been holding heat.
That can
Really well. It's 66% humidity, which that's great. And we're rolling at 71 degrees here in the window. Started some seeds last night. Had a couple cherry trees we're going to try to pop, and so that's just a lot of different flowers and things that she's doing. She's going to get a tent built for those. We've got some, what we got here? Okra, green pepper, lettuce, cabbage, lettuce. And over here we have Brussels sprouts, cauliflower.
Are you going to grow those in the Wallapini this winter?
Cabbage.
No, we're just popping them for. Well, I mean, we'll let them stay small, and then I'm going to put them out whenever I can't house them no more. And if it's not nice enough and I can't house them, I'll build encapsulations for them.
What about?
So when does your spring happen?
One of them is red.
Oh, March to April.
You are red.
It just kind of depends.
It's a fern.
So some of that's why I don't have very much. Like my green pepper, it will stay. I'm gonna push it to just grow real early, and then I'll put it out. And then some of the others,
This thing's flowering.
I'll try to get them out under some.
We got flowering over here every time.
And oh, check out this thing is popping. These were all just brought in from the season. They look pretty shiny from the summer. And they've always been popping, blossoming. Oh, one that I'm really excited about that doesn't blossom much.
When did you finish that Wallapini? Because you hadn't even started it last time we talked.
No, I didn't. I just closed it in for her birthday, October 8th. It was kind of my deadline to get it operational.
Gotcha.
My
Well done.
self-inflicted deadline, but
That's all right. That's good, man. That keeps you motivated.
things are popping in there, man. It's looking good.
We're definitely happy plants.
A handful. Yeah, they got an extract about a week ago or 10 days ago as well. I went ahead and just hit everything again because I had it going. So
yeah, you know, I uppotted all of my house plants.
Aloe up there.
Hit them with an extract and they all exploded. They all just have tons of new growth. It's amazing how well those plants, the house plants, like that stuff.
One was too tall for inside. That thing. We probably won't get into it a lot today, but I'm not seeing the same explosion in my cannabis bed. Tree. I've got to put together a lot more information, and we'll probably get back together sooner than later, and I'd like to try to hash out a couple things.
So, what cultivars are you growing? Are they slow growers?
We have quite a few. I'm not certain.
Because that's the big thing, that there are some like really long growing, like, you know, 100 cultivars that just don't come out of the gate hot.
Well, I've got some. They're not praying like I'd like to see them pray. I got a little bit of droop. I've got some pest pressure. Yeah, trying to figure out some moisture things too. Like the A seems really good. I mean, it's wet, but I went down, I dug a sample out and I put it on a plate and it wasn't soggy. I scoped it. There was one ciliate, but other than that, things looked aerobic. Like I say, that's a whole deep dive. The things I need to put together more information, and I'd like to hash some things out. That'd be really cool.
Sure.
I just got into par lighting. I just got my meter, so I am noticing I'm pretty low on par on some areas. But the weird thing is we left one light off completely. There's 4x4s, well, 4x8 beds, and so each light's over a 4x4. One light we left off just because we was afraid these lights weren't dimmable, so we left one off just to see, and that bed seems to be doing the best. It looks like, as far as pest pressure and green and lively, not perked, but doing better than any others. And I put the par in there and it's like under 100. It's crazy. And then some of the other beds are 150 to 250, 300. And we're a month in, so I kicked some lights up and I'm pushing about 300, 350 right now on some of them because they've been in there for like 4 weeks. So they should be doing a little better.
Were they clones or popped?
We had a little bit of each. Actually, I think just very few of them were popped, and they're really small. They're still.
And so when you felt the soil, it felt okay. It felt moist, not too over wet.
No, not last week. I kind of caught it a little late, but about last week I got in there and I was feeling right. Well, we were planting, actually. It was 10 days ago when we were planting is when I noticed it, but I didn't. When we dug down, so a lot of areas were really dry in the top 3 to 4 inches, like almost crumbly dry. It was concerning. So I watered pretty heavy then for a couple of days. Then I've got a moisture meter, just a cheap, stab in probe, and it was pegging hard about the A region. And as I approached the A, about 5 to 7 inches down. So I kind of backed off on that watering method because I felt like it was kind of running through the hydrophobic top and just kept pounding the bottom, and I wasn't getting anything at top. So I got my sprayer working again. So a couple of days went by. I was trying to hope it would saturate. Then I got through and started spraying stuff. Like every few hours, I just hosed it down with 1 gallon per like 4x8 bed. Not a lot, just surface misting, let it stand, whatever dries, hit it again. So I've been doing that over the last 4, 5, 6 days, and I don't know if I'm pushing it too hard, but the top feels right now. When I stick my fingers in there, it feels right. And I'm still pegging the same heavy MEA. Nothing showing up at the base in the basin.
What do you mean nothing showing up in the sand?
Well, in the basin, beyond the base,
no moisture showing up in the basin.
E. Yeah, at the bottom of the E, it looks moist. I mean, I can see moist, but nothing seeping out of the bed.
Okay, all right. It might just be needing to be, just gelled out. Let it run, because that sand will hold a shit ton of water. It's amazing how much it'll hold.
Yeah. So that when I'm spraying the surface, I'm really not even focusing on the plant base itself. I'm just trying to catch that surface back up because I put some compost on December 1st, like 3/4 to an inch layer over everything. And I've got probably 30% to 40%. Well, no, let's stay down about 25% coverage as far as cover crop goes, the dichondra, but they're slow. And I've got some lettuces. So I'm holding a little bit of moisture by that, but I need to get some mulch or something on there, because bare compost on the soil isn't ideal either.
So you have fans circulating the air?
Yeah.
And you got dehues?
Yeah. We're staying around 60%, 55 to 60, somewhere in there. The temperature's up pretty high, though. It's pushing nearly 80. These, I'm still trying to figure out the whole heating and cooling things with these mini splits is kind of an issue. Where are you gonna heat or are you gonna cool? You got your lights pushing the heat crazy, so we keep it on cool. I don't remember. We've been playing back and forth with it. Like the temperatures change outside, and it's like, well, maybe we better heat because we're dipping too low or something, So we have a little bit of fluctuation in temperatures, but most of the time it's around 75 to 80.
Yeah, a little fluctuation isn't going to matter. I mean, let's face it. In nature, they get a lot of worse conditions than what you're creating in a closed environment. So, like water swings shouldn't be an issue. Temperature shouldn't be an issue. Humidity can be a little bit of swing. I mean, so I think it's more. There's something else that's going on. Are the roots nice and white when you dig down in there, or are they like a darker color?
When we get done, well, I may not tonight. I owe some time to my lady this evening, but so soon I'm going to take my core sampler and I'm going to get probably 3 or 4 inches away from the stem, and I'm going to try to take just about a 4-inch core right next to that area and try to observe the roots and look at the biology and see where I'm at, and see. I haven't dug in there to see what it looks like. So,
yeah, something's definitely going on. And what bugs are you having pressure with?
I think they're just little mites. I can't even see them. I just see a little bit of webbing on 1 or 2 plants, and then I see the spots starting to show up on the leaves where they get. You can just see the scarring, from maybe they're biting or something. I have a little bit of yellowing.
Sounds like you need to get your bricks up, buddy.
Well, and I'm going to check the bricks too, but there again, like, I feel like I'm having faith. I'm running by faith right now. I haven't done a lot of testing, like I said, just a little bit, but we have good looking extract, good looking compost. So I've just been trying to stick with that right now. I haven't put any type of, Dr. Zymes or anything like that, PPE wise. I did a couple weeks ago, I did a foliar, the mild extract and a little bit of just tiny bit of some silica salts. And
pH, where are you at?
I don't know.
There you go. That's probably what's going on.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's probably, there's a lot to dive into that I don't have enough information on everything, but I don't know. That's necessarily what we're here for right now. But
again, we got plenty of time. I mean,
we're here to hash out the farm, right? And that's a big part of this farm. So I do get into it real soon.
So one of the things that I've noticed over time is that especially older compost tends to be drift into the alkaline, whereas the new compost tends to be a little bit more acid. And so another thing that can be an issue, but you should have corrected it when you're making your extract, is that whenever I see a plant struggle, I always say, hey, 3 things. First of all, hormone. You need some kelp. Second thing is you need humic acid, because humic acid makes chemistry play nice, even if it's way out of whack.
Which my compost is full of that, right? I mean, is it not?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. And lastly is the biology. And if you've got all 3 of those in play, you can rescue almost anything. So I would say that, I would start by, first of all, do your pH. Second of all, scope them. Make sure that you're not seeing a lot more ciliates. And if you have soil that's a little bit dry, what I recommend you do is go ahead and put some in a test tube and let it sit overnight, because what you'll see is 24 hours later when you scope it, you'll see all the flagellates out. So these are kind of things that will help you realize, okay, it was dry, I let it sit overnight, and I'm still not seeing flagellates. Okay, there's something going on. So these are some tricks that you can use, to start figuring out, chase this hole, so to say, to figure out what's going on.
That's what I told my lady this morning. She got up. What you doing? I said, I'm solving mysteries. Basically. And I just found, I looked it up. We did do a Logan Labs report. We didn't get to do the full one. I didn't send enough material. But here it says pH 8.3. Good call. So do I need to
buffer it
a little more rock dust than I'm doing? I do use a little sprinkle of my granite dust a lot of times. I didn't do that.
I'm thinking more sulfur, brother. Something that's gonna
form.
Something that's gonna knock her down. I mean, I wouldn't use gypsum because gypsum's gonna go neutral. I would say you want to use something a little bit more like elemental sulfur and just go really low and slow, right? Little dribs and drabs for a week or so, just so you don't stress anybody out, and then check your pH again.
Is basalt? What would it do?
Basalt is the hardest rock known to man. In other words, other than a diamond, right? I'm not talking mineral. I'm talking rock. Our continents float on basalt. So think about how dense it is. It's probably the slowest release of any mineral powder you can get. Like granite dust is going to release a lot faster. Dirt-Rite is going to release a lot faster. Schist, sandstones, they're going to release a lot faster. I mean, you can get if you can find it, like a calcitic sand, that's another one that's really good, or calcite rock.
What about
those are going to release minerals a lot quicker than basalt. But I'm not knocking basalt because everybody swears by it. And I think a lot of the reason why they swear by it is because it's paramagnetic.
Paramagnetic is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of azomite because you're only getting about 33% goodies out of that, and you're also getting a lot of things that they're kind of just bland. It's like baby food. I'd rather see you get a big old T-bone, some mashed potatoes, if you know what I mean.
I have. I go ahead and use it.
Again, it's like azomite was oversold because it's so cheap. People bought it up. It was like, okay, azomite. But I did some deep dives on it, I don't know, 10 years ago. Realized that, you're only getting about a third of a benefit out of the bag azomite, whereas these other mineral powders, you're going to get a lot bigger bang for the buck. They're going to be more expensive, but that's the reason why. They're harder to make. They're harder to mine. They're harder to crush. Green sand is a great one. I love green sand. Now, that's expensive. I think they closed the mine in New Jersey down, so unfortunately, it's something that you're going to have to import nowadays. Bentonite clay is great, but it's I'd rather see what's called a colored clay. Bentonite is white, so it's a primary clay, so it does not hold a lot of nutrient value. Whereas your red clays, your blue clays, your taupey clays, all of those are going to have additional minerals available that the biology can mine out of them. And this is a quick release too, especially if you get like super dry clay that's like micronized, and all you have to do is just dry it out. Like just dry it the hell out. Put it in the oven, whatever you want to do. And then so when it's super fine powdery, you sprinkle that on the top, and you're gonna get a mineral release almost immediately, because that's how easy it is for the bacteria to mine. Whereas the mineral dust, rock dust, mineral flowers or rock flowers are a lot more difficult for the bacteria to mine. C90 is great. That's got all your trace minerals. Did you, when you did the Logan Labs, did you get molybdenum done? Did you get your saturated paste as well as your chemistry?
No, like I said, we didn't. I jacked around and didn't send enough in. I think I had too many of the bigger chunks kind of with it. They couldn't get 2 cups, so I need.
Okay, so you sent them your compost.
Yeah.
Okay, so what they do is they have to send out the compost.
Well, this wasn't our beds, yeah.
Say again?
Our compost is all we've had tested, not our beds.
Okay, so when you're doing a compost test, I suggest you use Agro Labs. I think they're out east, and you ask for a slurry test. And the reason why you ask for a slurry test is because it's going to give you a lot more accurate measurement of what's actually there. When they use a strong acid, a lot of your your elements or your nutrients are going to vanish in the acid. They disappear. So Logan sends out, especially if you tell them it's compost, then they're going to send it off to another lab, which again, I don't have a problem with them. I've loved Logan. I use them forever, but I've shifted away to the point where when I'm doing soil, Logan's my go-to. I trust them way better than I do any ag extensions. I've had a lot of problems with ag extensions in the past because, let's face it, the people that are operating are, PhDs, they're in classes, they're studying, they're trying to earn extra money on the side. Equipment doesn't always get cleaned, and the SOPs are a little sketchy. So you can get radically different results. I know they're a lot cheaper than Logan, but I prefer Logan for soil, Agro Labs for compost, against slurry, and then there's some other tests that we could talk about,
Biomakers. That is one I'm really thinking about.
Dude, I'm in love with those guys. It's just
like that'd be, I mean, if you're going to trust your soil, trust the biology to do the work, is it really? I struggle every time. Even I know a lot of times you lean back toward tests but man, I've got so many colors of clay. I've got so many different types of rocks and sands, and I've got just such diversity in there. I just am going to stick with that confidence to know they're going to mine it if I can just get them organisms in there. But we are having a little struggle, like I say. So,
well, again, remember, like everything that we talk about is talking about it as a way to help the audience as well, because I know you have diversity, but a lot of the audience probably won't have the same level of diversity that you have, and they're going to have to go outside the box a little bit, and they're going to have to do some extra work in trying to find these organisms. That's an interesting one.
Thanks, Ken, for bringing that up. That's kind of what I wanted to do, is dive into our compost and let you kind of see what is in there, what we're extracting.
And that's a micro orthopod.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a pest or a predator or a beneficial or not. They're really difficult to tell at that level. Once they get a little bit bigger, it's easier to determine. Great fungal hyphae. It's fantastic, and I love the little humic acid crystals around. There's a spore up off to the right at about 1 o'clock. There you go. Nice levels of bacterial, much diversity, which is good.
Yeah, you got some cocci and diplococci and different sizes. And later on, over there looks like flagellate maybe, or just a really active. Yeah, it's bouncing around pretty good.
Yeah, though I would call those motile bacteria. Flagellates are going to be bigger than that.
Yeah, we'll see some here pretty soon. I'm just wondering if this is which video is this called? Is that the Love Compost video, Ken? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Love Compost one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I was just checking there to make sure we was on the right track there.
Yep.
Did you go up? Oh no, I was looking at this time, 36:55. I was thinking that's not, never mind.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, that's where we're at. These purple guys, wow, amazing. I just recently watched Catalyst, and I can't remember when she did it, but she made a video and she was talking about the purple amoeba that had showed up and had made a home, and she keeps finding it now. That thing is a mega. I call them dinosaurs, man. They're so archaic, and I wonder if some of them are extremophiles, or I don't know. They're huge.
Well, it's generally speaking, it's what they're eating is what drives their color, because typically they're clear. So he must be eating something, or she, whatever sex it is, unisex, is dining on something. Do you have a lot of grapes or anything that's got that purplish hue, like an eggplant, or you've been putting in your compost pile?
No, I wouldn't think so. Not really. So there's a guy that kind of makes you wonder if it's omycete. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I don't worry about omyces as much as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
It's all part of a network, a web. That's why they call it the soil food web. And anything that gets out of control, yeah, it's a problem. But if it's balanced, no, it's a beneficial thing. It's a food for somebody.
I didn't find any purple non-sulfur bacteria in this extract, but on my YouTube channel there are a couple of EM1 videos that I did, and if you look in them, you can find the purple non-sulfur bacteria at any time you want to. But we'll keep this rolling here. So I was kind of showing here where those nematodes, they get to really bouncing around, and when you're wanting to try to identify them, sometimes you got to be really sharp. So I'll chase them every now and then and watch for features, and I'm zooming.
There's a trick that Elaine taught me, which is when they're that active, you pull the slide, you mark where your slide is with the little numbers on the side and the top. So
well, if you don't,
back to the same spot, and then hit it with a lighter for just a brief second, and it stuns them.
Yeah.
Then they freeze.
Yeah, I do that sometimes, but when I'm not super concerned with it, like if I have a plant that all of a sudden it died and I want to identify 100% every single nematode, because it fogs up everything and makes it kind of, I'm just not very good at it maybe, but the other day when I did it, it worked really good and I could still see, but it'll leave a little black fog on there. So a lot of times I won't even stop them. 99% of the time, them fast movers are bacterial feeders. Yep. And a lot of times I can catch the right That's what I was trying to do here. Like, okay, where is it? Where is it? Just letting everybody kind of see. We might have stayed in there a little while, but how about like all these humics and fulvics and
There's a nice,
diatom there?
no, that's a nice amoeba right there. That's beautiful.
This square one.
Not the square one, the one that was
I
down.
think the square one would be a diatom.
No, diatoms are usually going to be a lot longer, and they're going to be usually have a perfect replication on both ends. Boy, you got great counts of amoeba, and they're all healthy. Lots of food in.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to kind of move. Now I'm gonna start really buzzing through here, and there's a lot. It stays pretty exciting around these parts. There are going to be some really great diatoms too, and I was trying to put Arcella. You'll be able to see it come out a little better at this stage. It's kind of hard to say. Well, is it a cyst? Is it a spore? Is it an amoeba? Is it? But I think right in here you get that donut.
I think based on the color, I probably think it would be a nematode.
Oh, you think egg?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know if that kind of would come. That probably the circle that I was mistaken for an Arcella opening was probably just the center of that ring of that toad.
Yeah, and they can also be microorthopod eggs too. It's a little big for a spore.
Well, you'll see some potentially here that are Arcella. They have a pretty obvious opening, and they're about that size and similar to the shape. But yeah, that one was questionable for me. And then even that one, like, egg.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Spore over here to the left.
Yep.
Couple and we will get to see also here in a little while. There was one spirochete. I picked him up pretty good, but it'll be in a little bit.
So the other thing too with remember, like if you have a plant that dies and you think you've got root feeding nematodes, you'll see little galls on the roots where they've like infected the plant.
Oh,
it reacts by creating a gall to try to heal itself, and so that's a pretty good indicator. And you got to remember too that they're only going to really do well in an anaerobic environment. They're not going to live in an aerobic environment.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
You might get a couple, but generally speaking, aerobics you're not going to have to worry about.
When you see this much aerobic organisms, it's like that if you see something anaerobic, it either came out of a pocket, it's trailing from just a little spot somewhere. It's probably not gonna proliferate.
Exactly, and let's face it, even inside the aggregates, you're going to get anaerobic pockets, and that's something I talked to Elaine about at length when I took a rhizos sheath and cut it in half and did samples across the board, and I found anaerobic organisms. And I went back to her and I said, look, you told me that anaerobes are bad. Well, this plant was thriving before I pulled it, and I cut it open and I found these different pockets of anaerobes. And she's like, well, that's in nature, but we don't want them in our compost extracts or our compost. And I'm like, well, how is it possible that at the bottom of the pile you're not going to get some anaerobes? But you're going to get some. And so anyway, she and I debated about it a little bit, but she has to teach what she has to teach, because otherwise people will take words out of context and she'll get in trouble for them, like what happened with that lady, one of her proteges.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a Matt said he just started finding them in his soil too. I guess that was the purples.
Oh, the amoebas?
Shooting the soil. Yeah, I just seen on the comments here. And like I said, I don't know for sure when Catalyst made that video. I'm curious now, but let's see when they started seeing them, because I just started seeing them within maybe a couple months. And I don't know, it may be attributed to the soil saviors potentially. I treated our pile with the soil saviors product too.
Is that another EM?
No, Pat Militek and Doc Will, you had them on the soil saviors.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that they're compost additives that are full of extremophiles and all kinds of. I mean, I don't know. They got a lot of stuff in there. So,
Yeah, I forget sometimes how many. I do so many shows. I forget, I lose my mind on how many people that I've actually talked to. So
oh yeah, oh yeah, I understand completely. I definitely struggle with trying to remember all the things. Just got thinking too, like the purple non-sulfur bacteria. I would think they would be almost hard to identify in here unless you really just got one stood out because there's so much going on. I don't know if you see them very often. Do you see the purple non-sulfurs very often in any of your stuff?
I don't use a lot of EM as much as I should, but no, I don't typically see a lot of them.
Yeah, and I know Powers, he adds them. He buys them separate and adds them. They're a little pill, sort of bacteria, I'm guessing. That little pill up there.
Not sure where you're pointing.
Well, it's kind of in the center. It looks like almost like a pill. Like I said, it's kind of going.
Oh, I see what you're talking about, like a Tylenol pill, right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, but not a big deal.
There's some flagellates now.
Oh yeah, I do get in on one pretty good here pretty soon. There's kind of a smaller. Most of the fungi though have been, that's still in the range of 3 to 3.5 microns, I'd say, but definitely clear, little squiggly, no septa, just not potentially, either developed or not necessarily the most beneficial.
And again, with based on what I'm looking at, which is a very aerobic soil or sample, I wouldn't stress about them. Again, remember what Efren taught me, or I think I've told you a million times, that it takes 7 to 10 days for the morphology to be present. And during that time, it's going to look like a disease causing based on Elaine's work. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Silly said, there's a lot of life in these slides. Yeah, I was really impressed because, like I say, this is actually, I took this sample. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out how far I was into my dilution. I took the sample pretty early in the dilution. I was probably, because I had a lot of times I'll dump, I put about 7 or 8 gallons in the washing machine.
Yep.
And I'll throw another gallon on top just to wash things down, What about that guy? That's what I was talking about one time. I asked you, I said, I see these crystalline structures that are, I don't know if they're amoeba or what.
They could be wing parts, they could be bug parts.
Yeah, and then the biology is just making a haum in there, so it makes it look like there's organs and something going on. But sometimes there's just so many in the trying to put together a slide of just them guys at some point. So much work to do, as Elaine always says too.
Never ends.
Yeah. So she did finally announce the retirement.
Yeah. Sad day. I tried to reach out, and basically I got like a robo reply that basically they would get back to me when they have time. They're getting a lot of outreach, which I can totally understand, and I'm not going to hold my breath if they don't get back to me. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have her number if I want to call her, but I just, I have too much love and respect for her. it was so hard when she came on the podcast about a year and a half ago, and I was like trying to help her finish her sentences and stuff. I don't want to embarrass her, you know. Keep her in my mind as she was.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just checking out some of these little comments here. Yeah, Matt said he really don't find the purple non-sulfur bacteria very much in any sampling, but so he gets a knock on as well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find a source. Well, I think Matt Powers does mention where he gets the other one, but they say there was an older one that was there's a diatom.
There you go.
For sure, right there, little spaceship. Boy, the first time I saw those, well, I've got a lot of different shapes, but wow, I was like, whoa, spaceships in there. They're so neat. A lot of times they'll have like they light up on a couple of spots. Pretty cool. There's another one. Matt, do you get diatoms shooting soil? Are you using any fish brew products? Another crystalline structure in the middle there above the diatom. Just a fragment of that one. It's kind of more looks like it could, like you say, like maybe a shell of something or a leaf part.
Yeah, nature's pretty crazy, dude. And again, you know, like even those little shiny crystal things, they're just like nanoparticles of mineral.
Yeah, like all the mineralization that we're seeing, the colors, the shininess. Yeah.
Remineralization.
Paying off adding the rock dusts and the sands and the clays. We put a little bit of clays in. I want to get a lot more of that in. Still working on figuring out sources and clays. That stuff's tricky. Like this lust soil is stomping me as far as content.
Say that again?
Oh, the sand silt clay content on our lust soil here is just there's like almost no line between sand and the top. It's strange. I just am having a hard time really. It's so fine. It's wind blown. You know, it's lust soil, wind blown. Just basically, I feel like it's just mineral rock dust.
So again, with your extracts, those are really going to help a lot. And I would say, you know, especially in a situation where it's just like literally like a tiny little fraction of an O horizon and it goes right into the sand, is don't dilute it as much. You know, pour down that thick chocolate water. You don't want to have a cake. You don't want to see a cake on the surface, but you just want it to penetrate down into the soil. And you'll turn that sand into friggin' silt and clay. I mean, we did that with a demonstration with the tomatoes and sand experiment.
You saying like with the extract, just
Yep.
The less dilution, the better if you can afford it.
If you're in a really super sandy soil, like if you're in a sand pit, I'd say, you know, practically use straight or 50-50.
It doesn't drain at all either, though. Like, so I'm missing sand. There's barely some bigger particles at the bottom sometimes in my soil around here. And then, like I said, I think it's a silty, but it's got a lot of really fine too. I think it's got some clay. I don't know. It's strange.
Have you done Texas?
No, I haven't even done. I could probably just do a local extension test to see on that, or I guess when it goes to Logan, they can add that.
Yeah, for $120, you get chemistry, saturated paste, and textural.
Yeah, it's just, boy, we've just been so focused on building. You've seen all the stuff I've built lately.
Oh God, yeah.
I can't. It's hard to spend the money on. If I tested everything I wanted, I don't even get to test all the stuff I want to test microbiome, you know, in the microscopy. It's like I'm trained. I have the equipment.
I don't think you need to do microscopy. You can do it yourself.
Well, that's what I mean. Even me, like for free, it's hard to find the time. I've got a list of things I want to do, you know. The other day I looked at like I said, I pulled up the A. I want to do all 4 beds and do A samples, log, note. I want to do the O samples and look at them and log, note, take time, do some bricks testing take some notes. It's hard to find time, like saying with concrete. Luckily, we're slowing down in the wintertime right now, and that really helps a lot to be able to get a lot more done. My partner's been pretty forgiving and helpful.
Would a simple jar test be, a good place to start?
It like I said, when I do, there is just like little to no variation in anything. It's strange. It's really hard to find that gap, the change. I don't know if it's all just kind of the same size, and it's just riding right in there in that silty, sandy mix. And when I look it up, as far as geographically across the world, this region is supposedly to have about 17 to 35% clay in its loess composition, according to many tests and things that have been done. But I can see as I dig through the layers, some that they'll vary. Sometimes it's white. When I get pretty deep, it's almost white, and that's got to be like a rock dust of sorts. So, like I say, it's wind blown. It's really fine. Compacts too much. When I can get organic matter in it, loess is supposed to be some of the most fertile soils of the world, they say. So
if you're getting into white, 2 tricks: rub it between your fingers. If it feels gritty, it's sand. If it rolls into a ball, then it's bentonite clay.
Yeah, because it's not going to be silt, right? I mean, white is not going to be silt for sure. Look at the skin on that guy. Some of them wear some really neat armor.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Based on the bacterial size, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
25, 30 microns.
Yeah. So yeah, he's shedding or something. Is that what they do when they start molting?
Absolutely.
See, and this might be one that I just really could never hardly dial in on his mouth part, out his tip, but I never could find, maybe that did. Or maybe that's that same one. It is. So I seen his mouth part. It most likely it doesn't have any knobs, but it doesn't have that T valve in his gut for that, unless I just didn't get the right angle to see it. But I think I'm going to go back out on there. So maybe those are like switchers. Will switchers always have a little?
Another thing too, when they're malting like that, it's hard to see the mouth because you're trying to look through 2 layers of skin, or the outer layer.
Yeah, and that valve in their intestine is sometimes it pops up at different, when they twist a different angle or something. It's kind of hidden. It's got some interesting openings there. It is behind his jawline there, cavities there or something.
Yep. It's almost looks like eyeballs.
Yeah.
Nice full stomach.
That's 1 to 10. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody's enjoying the ride. I don't know, but there's a little bit left, but there's going to be a really cool flagellate coming up here pretty soon. You get to see him just dragging his little flagellum along, and
is he dragging his little backpack full of food?
No, not that one. He's just kind of bobbling about, but he's whipping that flagella around pretty good, and it gets up near the top where it's kind of just him for a little while. It's pretty neat. But yeah, the flagellates aren't high, but yet when I sent the sample, I went ahead and sent the sample to Andy as well, just to kind of get her outside opinion on it. We were at a 0.3 fungal to bacterial ratio now, but like she said, being kind of early in maturity and seeing the high number of amoeba, they're going to likely be munching out on the bacteria pretty good, and the fungi are going to continue to develop because we're seeing so much sporulation and already present hyphae. I think we're going to be really looking really good by spring.
How old was it?
This finished out in around October, November. Well, it may have quit. It quit heating up to about one. It topped out about 110 in maybe August, and
Gotcha.
then went kind of steadied down from there. Right now it's under ice. So that video I made the other that we watched earlier was just a couple days ago, December 27th, maybe yesterday. No, 2 days ago. It was really nice. It was almost 50 some degrees. And then we got a blast of Arctic air and a bunch of moisture and snow. So the ground's covered actually about an inch now. It's icy snow and got down to nearly zero. So the compost piles needed it though. We put up the water hoses several weeks ago. So the top 5 or 6 outer layer was starting to dry a little bit. So this is going to be a great, get some snow on there, let that ice get in there and moisturize it. I think that'll help out a lot. And we didn't have to drag out. Well, we got about an inch of rain as well. So that was good. And I didn't really know it was going to rain. I've got a rain barrel outside that that I filled up, and yeah, I pumped it all to inside the garage. Then it never rained again, so I was about to run out. So I filled it up about 3 or 4 days ago. This rain wasn't being called for. They've been spraying and things change, But now it's full again. So I put a concrete blanket over it to protect that 300 gallons of water so that here in the next week or two, I can pump it into the garage and use it.
So Matt just asked you, you just pulled that sample the other day, right?
The one we're looking at was just taken fresh. Yeah. A few days ago. It's Friday. I took the sample Saturday. Oh, and one thing to note, pardon me. I'm sliding off my chair. I looked at that sample briefly when I took it out, and I didn't record anything or do anything. It looked pretty much basically the same. I guess I didn't dig as deep into it. But then what I did, I put this in a tote. I don't have my brewer set up right. I just recently acquired a 55-gallon cone brewer, one that you actually made and sold to, I forget her name now, but I got your sifter from her as well. Remember I was telling you about that. I wish I could afford the sprayer. That sprayer she wanted $4,000 for, which I don't blame her, but it's a stainless steel tank and you pressurize it with air. So, I mean, it basically limits you to where the only limitation you have on particle size is your nozzle head, right? I mean, you can blow out junks with that thing, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I would think, because there's no pump. You're just blowing air. That's amazing. Yeah, I wish I may still end up with it. We'll see. She's probably still got it. Maybe she'll.
So she didn't move back east?
Well, that was her plan, and that's what she was doing, was liquidating. And I haven't checked back in with her recently to see, because. Oh, and one of that was it. I wanted to mention too. Yeah, I got to get some good glue and put the airline in the bottom, because I guess when you built it, or you didn't really drill the air injectors, they just were glued in there. Is that common? Or is that kind of
I don't think
maybe she did.
Yeah, I think she did that.
Yeah, she did that. Maybe
whenever I do one of those, I drill it and tap it.
Yeah, I got to get a kit.
Through an air fitting.
Yeah, I think just spending $30 to get a little kit, and that way I'm set up to where I can do it, because I need to get it put together. And I just haven't needed to brew, that much. And well, like I said, I don't do a lot of brews. I typically, and I lost track on that story. So this stuff, Friday evening, my intentions were to get it on the ground. Well, I didn't get it on the ground. So it went in a tote with 2 bubblers, and about 20 hours later is this what you're seeing right now. So this is actually a tea with no hydraulic state. It does have kelp mill.
It's an extract. I mean, it's not. You didn't really add a ton of water to it, right?
No, not at that point. It was just about a 1 to 8, I'd say. Or probably not even that. Maybe 1 to 6, because I put the fines about 3/4 of a bucket of compost in the machine, and then double that. 2 buckets, 3/4 full. So what? 7, 8 gallons.
Yeah, that's a pure extract.
Yeah.
And this, I assume, is diluted 10 to 1.
No, this is pulled out. This was that. It maybe it might have had an extra couple gallons from the wash down and then just messing around with it. It might have had about 10 gallons total of water in there as it brewed.
Because usually when I make an extract, I can't see anything unless I put 1 mil into a vial and then add 9 mils of water to dilute it out so I can see. So I'm surprised that you didn't put this in a vial, your extract in a vial, and then add more water.
Oh, I drew this out of the tank, or that tote. I put the tote under the washing machine, pulled the plug, filled it up, and like I say, wash it down with a gallon or 2, and then
and pulled it right out.
And then it went to the bubbler. And then the next day, what I did is I stirred it up a little bit, even though it was bubbling. And then I took I give it like 5 seconds, and I just extract it out with the extracted onto the slide. Yes, I pulled it right out of the extract, put it onto the slide. So, but it was 20 hours in.
I'm surprised that you got that much fields of view, because typically, like when I do that, I can't see anything. I have to add water to it so that you can open the organisms up. Otherwise, it's just like
you just. How far do you sift yours down? Before
I probably go 3/16, quarter inch.
You're a little tighter than me too. There, I'm a quarter, but.
Yeah, and then
you're probably a little richer. We're pretty early in the game.
Yeah, I wash it for half an hour and then pull the extract out. But it's like it's chocolate water, dude. It doesn't settle out. How long did you run your stripper for?
About 30 minutes. Yeah, it'll only go about 18-minute cycle until it wants to I haven't tried to override the next phase, which is spin. So if it goes into spin, it'll try to spin me out and mess up my airlines. So I do 15-minute cycles. And then when it comes out, it's super thick. But it does settle out pretty quick. Within a few seconds, it's going to have a couple inches of, but probably an inch at least of material on the bottom, whether it's sand or I don't know what, clays, different material.
Yep.
Non-floating. Most of the organic material should float, but I guess it really don't. I don't know.
How long does it take before you can see through it again?
Oh, you won't. I mean, as far as like if it were in a vial?
Yeah, or just in the tote itself.
Well, the tote I never could see into it. I had the bubblers going, remember? So I never could see into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was super thick the whole time. And then I screened it out. And now when I did what I did on my screen, I just didn't even use your screener setting up in my hoop house. And it's a pretty good size. This was just a pretty small extract. I only needed to and I wasn't trying to sift it heavily because it wasn't going into a sprayer. So I just ran it through like an 1/8 inch little homemade screener that I made out of a colander with a little vibrator on it. So, and I ended up with probably a 1/2 gallon of what I call cakes, that material that was left over.
Yep.
Then I fed that to the worms. I put it in with some bokashi that I'd recently made. So I mixed that with some bokashi and some cocoa core. And then no, not cocoa core. The cocoa core is in the bokashi. But cardboard shreds. I use quite a bit of cardboard shreds in my worm bedding. There's a nice diatom.
There you go.
And then there's going to be another one right above it. Pretty sure, not that one. Yeah, there. That's the same guy. No, he's a little different. Shouldn't be real long here. And we're going to be finding that spirochete. But yeah, those are some pretty large amoeba.
Yeah, they're super healthy.
And as far as activity, everything's squiggling around really good. And Pat Militech actually did take a sample I sent him a sample because he was looking at some other material for me, and he said it was glowing high on the vibrancy scale. So he said, your compost is gold. I said, can I quote you on that? He said, absolutely.
Nice.
So I said, cool. Another diatom. Oh yeah, so Dirt-Rite, we're working on now. Most of my focus the last week has been just this show. Believe it or not, my brain goes all over the place, like I say, in preparation. I still don't get prepared the way I perfectly see everything, but it never is perfect. But
that was probably a good thing I missed the week before.
Yeah. Well, and actually let's see. No, yeah, it is. Yeah, because the extract. This was actually, wow. I'm confused myself. I told you guys this was that 20-hour, or yeah, this is. Now I'm trying to think of what the heck I was doing. Yeah, this is the love compost. Yeah, be the 20-hour extract. Because I did another couple of videos here and there, and I don't know, like I say, I get lost in the editing. I have a really hard time getting them. I'll start doing some editing and think things are going to work, play the movie, and then it's turning things sideways, or I want to shorten things. So I'm still I've got a lot of learning to do. And then I got to play with the AI on our logo stuff. So that was pretty fun. I've got some neat logo stuff that I'd put together. Dirt-Rite operates through a not-for-profit organization. So I've just recently found a Zephy. It's a site that is like PayPal or whatever, a money exchange site, so that I can actually receive funds and sell product. So there's a nice bone-looking diatom.
Yeah, that is interesting. I haven't seen one like that before.
I've seen quite a few like that, and some of them even more bone, like they look like a real bone. I'm like, wow, you're cool. I mean, I'm guessing it's got to be a diatom, right?
It would hard to argue that it isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, just like about anything not anything, but some of the stuff we see might be a little questionable, but that sure does look like it. So I'm working on getting the business cards ready too. So we're going to make a tour. We live about 50 miles from Kansas City, which is a pretty metro area, over 1 million people in the vicinity. They've got some really good grow shops down there. So we've got one grow shop here in town that will stock our compost when we get it to him. And then we're going to go down to Kansas City and try to get hustle up some business and have them put some product on their shelves. So, I mean, from what you're seeing, I mean, that and what Andy said, and I mean, I'm pretty confident that we've got good inoculum here.
I'd agree.
I've never seen anything like it. I've bought bags from multiple suppliers. I've never seen anything quite as active and diverse.
That's fact. Nobody knows how to make this stuff, dude. Takes a lot of work.
Yeah, and time and money. I mean, I've dedicated, well, not just me, my team. You know, Seth and Zane's been helping a lot, and we're hard at it a lot. Spend time and money developing this. So, and now I see why, you know, it's $30-$40 a bag for the small cubic foots. Like at our grow shop down here, he's got maybe 3 or 4 different type, or maybe he's got a couple living soils that are newer and recent that I haven't got to check out yet. And then he's got a couple of main composts that we run around here. It's that Ollie Mountain. And then there's another one, Booze Blend by Malibu.
Okay.
That's pretty common out there, but I've looked at it multiple times, and every time I look at it, it's a little different, but it's never had nearly the life that we have. Never. And rarely does it have much life. I could never even put it close to BioComplete.
No, and I would, you know, what I would do too is advertise. You have metrics on your compost. In other words, you have Andy's test. Print it out.
Yeah.
And then tell them. Just say, hey, if you want to buy this other guy's compost, send it to Andy Marsh, you know, for $120. She'll tell you how it compares against mine. Because it's unfortunately that you know, it's not something you can see. It's something that you have to scope to understand the value of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and man, Pat has Militech. He's really been kind of nudging me toward micronization, and it's really got me pretty intrigued. I'm gonna start playing around with trying to micronize some of it and see, you know, reanimate it. I mean, you'd have to dry it, right? You can't pulverize this stuff when it's that wet. There's just no way. So I'm gonna take some of the dry material. I'm gonna throw it in a blender. I'm gonna pulverize it the best I can, micronize it, see what happens, and then I'm gonna reanimate it 24 hours, see if I get any life out of it.
So the way to do it is really get yourself.
Key.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. The way to do it is use different screens. So 120 micron and a 47 micron screen. Stack them up on top of each other so that what goes through the 120 gets trapped on the 47, and then take that muck and put it in a grape press and just slowly press it. And what you'll get out of it is pure fulvic acid if you don't press too fast. You know, just a couple cranks, spin it down until it's tight, and then every 15 minutes, half an hour, give it a quarter turn, half turn. Again, you don't want to break the press, and you don't want to squeeze it so hard that you squeeze out humic acid that mixes with your fulvics. And then once that is a cake, then you screen it through an insect screen, and now it's micronized.
But it'll be dry, right?
That's my product, Rejuvenate. That's how I made it. But you got to rescreen it again, otherwise it'll go anaerobic. So you got to fluff it up so you get air of it.
And that's right when it comes out of the flattening stage. It's not going to be completely dried out. A lot of moisture will be gone from the squeezing, but
you get it down to about 40% moisture value, and that's ideal. I mean, when I hit it spot on, I can take that stuff, throw it in a bucket, and have it 15 years later, pull it out, and it's even better than it was the day I made it. So micronizing is easy. I don't think you need any mechanical force other than what you already have.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the value, like, because that's what he's looking at, like their product. If you that little box that Soil Savior sells, the 5-acre box is that big, 8-inch tall box by 6 inch. There's 7 packages in there. They're all small, there's a couple liquid. There's about a 7-ounce liquid, the resonator, and that's a lot of it claims to be suspended cyst and whatnot, in that liquid. But the rest is there's another liquid, and then I think the rest is powders. And so 5 acres in this little box for $300, I feel like there's value, and I feel like there's value on the end of the producer as well, because now you're able to not have to deal with shipping and costs and bulkiness and more bang for your buck. So that's the thing. How much more bang for your buck are you really getting in micronized versus standard?
Yeah, well, it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to get dissolved organic matter down into like a engineered soil field, then you want micronized. If you're trying to convert dirt into soil for a vegetable garden, you want chunky. So it really depends on what your end goals are.
Yeah, and budget. I guess budget. Micronized is definitely going to go a lot further.
And it's also going to be a lot more expensive to produce, therefore it's going to cost more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I got out of selling the products that I sold. I basically make all of them in the same product. I just don't have to go through stripping it, pressing it, re-sieving it, and then packaging it. That's a lot of work, dude. And this, people complain that I was charging like, I don't know, $50 a pound back in the day. And a pound would go a long way. But, it's like, oh, well, that's just a little box. It's kind of expensive. So, again, the market has shifted a lot since I got into this gig, pushing 15, 16 years ago. A lot has changed. And there's a lot more awareness behind what we're doing. Like when I first started talking about soil biology, people thought I was insane. But, now here we are post-COVID, and regen agriculture is booming. And that opens the door for a lot of guys like yourself to get involved with it. Whether it's micronizing it or selling it in bulk, you got to find that happy spot in between.
All the above, I guess. Just find it's a more avenues of. Obviously the micronized is going to ship out further for more affordable. There's the sticker logo that I'm going to put on the bag. Of course, there'll be more information on there, but that's kind of the starting logo.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, living organisms, vibrant ecosystems, kind of just a acronym there. Love comes. And I guess, Cheryl, did that clear up for you where Matt said those a lot of brown and gold spots are what that fulvic and humic acids are on those slides. Some of that's just plain. I mean, and Leighton, maybe you chime in, but some of it's organic matter. You can kind of see some that are just obviously chunks of root or wood. But most of the time, if they're just clustered out and they're full of organisms, fungi, that's a culmination of those humics are dark and the fulvics are yellow.
There you go. All right, well, we've got 7 questions. We're a couple minutes early. But why don't we go ahead and get those answered, and we'll see where that leads us from there.
All right.
Nice filming, my friend. That was nice.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that worked out good. I've been told by a few mentors that I got a good setup on my camera and microscope. So.
Well, and that's one of the questions is what kind of microscope and camera are you using?
Well, I don't know a lot about the camera because the guy gave it to me when I bought this microscope. Achiscope is the microscope. And the camera, I'll just move this over here and hope I don't damage anything along the way or change our connection. Everything's still good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Accuscope, and it's boy, one thing I'm going to look into. Leighton was telling me about this is 10 times magnification up here at the eyepiece, and he was telling me about a 20 piece, so it would basically double everything. This 10 is right now 100, 10 times 10. So if I had 20 times 10, that would be 200. And then I've got the 4, which is 40. The blue would be the 100 time, blue is
80x.
it's gonna 80, yeah. Well, no, my blue is 40 times 10 is 400 is my max. And that's where you were telling me, or do you got an 80 and a 10 or a 20 and a 40 to get 800?
No, I have my blue is 80 plus my eyepiece is 10. Don't you have a yellow that's 40x?
No, my yellow is 10. I think you was telling me that your eyepiece was actually 20 at one time.
I'll have to check it, but
because you were double, and I thought, how did you do that? And yeah, the camera mounts up on top. It has a C mount adapter here. Like I say, as far as brand, he gave it to me because the on and off switch don't work right. He sells microscopes, and he does this was one of his display model or whatever, and like I say, the switch quit working. He couldn't tell when it was on and off, so it wasn't a big deal, but the light just don't work, so no big deal for me.
So how was installing the software package?
He walked me right through it. It was pretty simple. I'm quite computer illiterate, so I got it working, and I haven't had no trouble. I am having trouble actually. I can't record. I can't play back the video that I'm recording right now, and it's happened one other time, and I think my brother might have helped me through it. But through the app that I do, Captive Vision, I think is my. Yeah. Oh boy, that ain't a good idea.
Yeah, the stuff we were watching, were you actually filming that off your monitor onto like a phone or something?
That actually, what I did is I went into Zoom and I made a meeting and I recorded it.
Okay.
So that was a Zoom recording. But when I'm in the camera app, I can snap a picture or I can do video, but for some reason my videos aren't playing back. But we better get through some questions. I can get more information up about that though at some time if somebody's real. But that's about 3000 LED series. If you didn't catch that on the Accuscope, that's what I'm using. This was $1,800 total for a carrying case, microscope, camera and everything. Yeah.
Cool.
And I know there are cheaper ones, but I felt like I did pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get to our first question. This is back on the first video. Farmer Cheryl wanted to know, what is he watering, cover crop, and what kind?
The cover crop is just a wild game blend. So it had like 7 different seeds, and the main one was winter rye, and it had some turnip, it had rape, it had, what was the other one? Oh, some legume, some peas. No clover was in that mix. I just went to the local place and I was like, I've been searching and searching for a mix, and I was like, oh, I want certain things, and I couldn't really find it. I wanted organic, but I just ended up going out to one of the places here in town that sell seed, and I said, what do you got for something to cover crop? And it was in season, and so that stuff boomed. I just put that all down probably toward the end of summer, in a couple different phases. Some of it got down earlier out in the tomato beds. If you was looking out there, and I don't know if you really heard me say, but in the back, in that, we'll call it the non-greenhouse. It's the very first greenhouse structure I built. It's the biggest one. It's just got the glass on the front, and it's got all them beds in there that you said were looking a lot better. Oh, by the way, I can't wait to get you guys updated on the, I've got some big 3-inch by 14-inch timbers that I've charred, and I got to finish sealing them, and I'm going to build out those tomato beds. So that's going to be really cool. So, but yeah, that cover crop, I did harvest. Oh, radish. It was radish in there too. There was very little turnip, but more radish. And I harvested quite a few of them, and we ate them. They were really good. So that was cool. And I just let most of it just die right off in the ground. I cut some of it off. I left most of it standing. Then I threw some leaves. I ran some leaves through my chipper, and I scattered leaves about the top of it too. And I was watering with the extract that we did. Both beds and raised beds. Raised beds take a lot of time.
So you actually made like a blanket, a leaf mold blanket for your garden.
Yeah, and in some areas it became more of a blanket. Some it was a dusting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just time, like I'm like, oh, I got to get this done. And one day I'm like, oh, better do this. And I had a little time, and I got some of it done. But yeah, Farmer Cheryl, I use every type of, as far as in-ground beds and raised beds, I see there, when you call it, they're all raised beds. The ones in the ground are typically, they're mounded. They're not as raised. That's kind of, they are raised beds. But the ones that are built up, obviously, I'd love for everything to be nearly waist height. So reaching and all of that. So that'd be ideal, but it just takes time, money, and effort and energy. I can mound up rows out in the yard a lot faster than I can. And then if I see an area and I'm just like, finally get a fire under my bottom to get it done, I'm just going to get it done. I may have been procrastinating, thinking, oh, I got to build these certain beds a certain way, but then sometimes I just throw it in there. So that's where I'm at. Some of that.
The charring is a great idea. That's what the Romans used to do. Is they burned the end of the log and then dug it in the ground, and it would last for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Orientals use a lot of that as well for preservation. I'm just it's not
There's
coming.
A name, feng shang tang, something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. There. It's done a lot for preservation, and basically it seals the cell structure so the water and moisture can't get in. It closes them up. So the next one is Kip growing to sell, and to whom? How much will he produce? What percentage, if any, is composted?
Okay, yeah. Growing to sell, definitely at some point. To whom? Anybody who wants it. Right now, I've probably in the last year and a half, I've sold probably $200 worth, because somebody my partner, he loves my pickles. When I get a fire batch of pickles, he's like, I'll buy some. Give me some more pickles. I'll be like, I'm running out. No, I'll buy some. So I sell him some pickles. We've got a few people. My fiance is a bartender, so she runs into a few people at the bars, and they're like, hey, you guys got any of that? Whatever. Made pickle relish. We've sold a few jars of that. Little cowboy candy, jalapenos, and carrots. There's a candied one that's different, but there's also that Mexican blend, like carrots, onions, and jalapenos pickled. We do that a lot. We've sold some of those. So the goal, yes, is to kind of perfect all of this and make enough food for us first, obviously, family. I give some away. I trade, people that I want favor with. I give them some food, so there's that. And looking to just ramp it all up. You can see where a lot of these beds are new. So I'm just kind of getting better and better at timing, increasing, figuring out my light patterns around here. The sun goes, those front beds, I don't know how you really calculate, because half the time the sun's way down in the trees and I get almost no sun. And then when we're popping in the season, I'll probably get 5 to 7 hours. I need to do some better logging, but there's different areas. And then out there where the tomato beds are, I'm a good 8 hour to 10 out there. And the higher I get up on that hill, I'm probably pushing 12. But I'm up on a hill, but I'm a little bit in a hole with that ledge there. So
and guys, for the compost, if you check in the description, you'll find a link to this page. And he was mentioning the Zephy. This is where you can go and check out the composting consultation, etc. But the link for this is in the description.
Yeah, so Dirt-Rite's a mission. We, like I say, it's not for profit. Everything I do basically just goes right back into, other than, I have living expenses right now. I work to cover those, but at some point the mission will cover my living expenses, and it's all tax exempt, everything we do, because it's for the betterment of mankind. So when you have Jesus Christ on your side, you don't have to pay taxes.
Very good.
He doesn't burden you with that. He protects you from that. So it's good. They don't even dabble. I don't even have to report.
Now, Shooting the Soil says if you're having any issues, my friend, that you should reach out to him, because he's not just into microscopy, he's into the computer end of things as well.
Yeah, and the movie part. I would really love to reach out and maybe see if we can screen share, and you can help me figure out how I can make this thing record a little easier on there, because going into the Zoom and it just less. I want to be able to take short ones and not have all that setup time. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I appreciate it.
Now, this one's for you, Leighton. Will Leighton do an episode on what is everything we are seeing in these slides?
Wow. Okay, so
that's what we were doing.
What I'd recommend, Cheryl, is to go to the Soil Food Web school site, and they make a really cool poster that shows you how to identify different types of bacteria based on their shape. One of the things that we as humans try to do is identify things that are unidentifiable, because we want to know. So a lot of the stuff you see there you go. He's got one right there. They actually have a better one.
This was my homework, but this was just a little one. I won't interrupt. I was just going to say that, through my homework, they had the same thing. I thought they could maybe scan it real quick there. But
yeah, so the Soil Food Web one is cool because it's colored, it's laminated. You don't have to worry about getting it wet, and it's inexpensive. But the bottom line, going back to the point, is that there is still so much stuff that we don't know. With using DNA, we can get a lot closer to identifying, what each organism actually does. But the problem is we have what's called horizontal gene transfer and biogenesis, which is really complicating our ability to determine who's doing what. And then you add it to community. So isolation science is no longer really of any value when we get this deep down into understanding what's really happening. So again, like if it's moving, chances are it's living, because of the fact that it's got a cytoplasm inside of it. And so we have this thing called, oh shit, it was right on the tip of my tongue. It's a Brownian motion, which is the vibration of the earth. And that vibration helps to bounce those little cytoplasm-filled organisms in the liquid, whereas the things that settle out are inert. So yeah, fungi is a living organism, but it's so heavy that it sinks. Amoeba are the same way. Nematodes to some degree will also sink. Some will float. Flagellates will always float. So there's nuances to what I'm trying to say. But bottom line is, when you get behind a microscope, don't try to like figure out what every single thing is. I mean, like I've seen bug parts that look like organisms, and I've seen organisms that look like bug parts. And will I ever truly know what it was? Probably not, because again, like things take time. Like that nematode that he showed where it was molting, it was actually getting ready to grow. And when that happens, it's very difficult to identify, right? And it's not moving. So you'd say, oh, is it dead? Well, no, it isn't, because you could see that there were two bodies in it, or one a smaller body than a bigger body. So again, you have to use a lot of common sense. And Matt shooting the soil will tell you this. Like, yeah, we'd love to be able to identify everything with our vision. Some point in time when AI gets jammed into the microscopy, that's where we're really going to open the door to understanding a lot more of what we can identify visually. But until then, bear with us. I mean, just recently they got a microscope that you can now push down into the soil and actually document what's going on over a period of time, which was unheard of. It has some crazy little lens that's like an eyeball that tears. It cries constantly. So it's constantly washing off the biofilms and anything else that gets stuck to it. So that kind of stuff coupled with AI will open up amazing gates for people, soil nerds like us.
Mm-hmm. So just before we go on to the next one, Matt wanted to say, happy to help OBS Studio for software to get you started. It's free. I use it for everything to view the scope.
There you go.
And then our last question is, what does Bokashi look like under the microscope? And do you see any purple non-sulfur bacteria? I wonder to run your EM video.
Yeah, I was glad they asked because I was anxious to show that. Yeah.
So yeah, this is
I think
EM.
that this one is the EM1, a microscopic dye. That's the original EM, not extended and not in my Bokashi, and so that's the most likely, I think, is where it is. Is that the one you're in?
It's EM1 active live is activated live.
So that's been activated. So there it's extended almost 20 times, 1 to 1 to 20, so 18 times. I don't know that I found it in there. It'd be the EM1, a microscopic dive. It's the video right under it. And it jumps. I think I find one pretty quick in there.
And guys, you can go to
starts off with one. Yeah, great.
Go to his YouTube channel. I'll just let me grab it here. Should be that one right there. YouTube at Dirt-Rite. And all these videos are on his YouTube channel. That's where we're watching them from.
So yeah, if you pull up that EM1 one, it starts off with purple non-sulfur bacteria right off the bat.
Okay, so this is the EM active dinosaur extract under the microscope. Okay, that one right there, then it would be.
There it is right there. And I don't know if I'll zoom in, but I find a couple of them so you can get a better example of how sometimes they have a little bit more fingery look to them. But they're going to appear kind of red. You can see the yeast, these little bubbly looking things, and then the lactobacillus and lactic acid bacteria. But yeah, you can see that a lot of, and this is straight from the bottle. Yeast clusters. That could have been a little purple non-sulfur there to the right. But they're sort of a rarity when I find when I look in there. There's one right there. And this is according to, there again, I guess I can't be 100% certain, but very much a match to what I was seeing through Matt Powers' videos when he was showing the purple non-sulfur bacterias. Crystalline structure. I think they might be an AMO of some sort. But yeah, it is quite often that we really, it's hard to see, or it's hard to know exactly what stuff is. As you saw, Cheryl, there when we were talking earlier in some of the items we just really couldn't for certainly identify. And I get to really buzzing through just trying to find stuff. So I wondered how bouncy it was going to end up, but looks like we're focusing pretty good every now and then. I'm just racing around in there, getting everybody dizzy.
And this is how fast your mind works. It just races around.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, Leighton, maybe you can take a thought on this question here. I made an extension of EM1 using only maple syrup, and it's still gassing off hard 1 year later. Any thoughts on what's going on, or if it will stop creating pressure?
You're making maple sugar candy, my friend. Yeah, it'll eventually stop gassing off, but it's just going to turn into a crystal chunk. They're consuming everything, but it will be like, crystal at the end of it. Hard. And it's probably safe to eat too. Might actually be delicious. But just think of EM, as a complete ecosystem. Everybody's eating everyone else's poop, as ugly as that sounds. They're just breaking stuff down fast as they possibly can. So that's why you're getting all that off gassing.
Okay, well, that was it for the questions in that videos. Just only got a few seconds left. Was there any other videos you want to bring up? There's your archaic dinosaur amoeba.
Yeah, that's pretty quick. That shows a lot of them mega. They're some big. They take up the whole screen. I'm about 150 tall and 225 wide, I think. And that one's pretty neat because it's got a nematode right there in it.
And Leighton, you figured the coloration is basically from whatever's in there that they're consuming?
Yes, I would probably bet the farm on that. Now, there could be, other minerals that they're putting together through biogeochemical interactions. Perhaps that they're not purple until they're digested. That's common as well. But typically, you like for instance, fungi. If it's brown, it's eating humic. If it's yellow, it's eating fulvic. But you'll get orange, you'll get green, you'll get different variations, tan, taupe.
What do you think of that thing?
That looks like an insect pod of some kind. See the little eggs?
Yeah. I didn't know if that maybe formed on the outside of it or if that's inside of it. But yeah.
Hard to tell, my friend.
Seems like it has like body, like organs or whatever. I don't know. It's a really strange unit there. Tried to look for an opening of some sort.
Once you get into eggs and microorthopods, it gets complicated really quickly because there's so many different life cycles for these organisms that unless you're an anthropologist, you're not going to ever be able to figure it out. You really got to deep dive, and each species is different. It has different types of life cycles.
And yeah, you really got most of the basics, Cheryl, like as far as explaining what most of this is. We can't get into exact details, but you got your amoeba and you've got and there again, these guys, egg, cyst.
Doesn't look like a cyst to me.
Amoeba?
No, I wouldn't say it's an amoeba. If anything, maybe an egg sac, because you could see that spherical
Brownian motion going on all over there. Everybody's squiggling around.
There's a lot of life.
Probably lean toward egg sac on them, on that one anyway.
That would be my guess, yeah. Right there, that's the shot. That's the money shot. Now that is an amoeba.
Yeah, for sure. The big purple dinosaurs. Yeah, that thing is probably every bit of 100 microns long.
At least.
Yeah, and that one. Assuming it's even one,
Hard to say, my friend.
Yeah, it seems like an amoeba of them sort.
Looks like a Grateful Dead skull.
It does. A lot of them do. I see that a lot. I think they're just calling to me that way, the biology.
Cool. Well, hey, dude, really appreciate you coming on and bringing us up to speed and giving us that farm tour. Congratulations. You've obviously done a tremendous amount of work from when I met you, 3 years ago? Maybe even a little longer.
2 years. Well, actually, just a couple of years. We met at the Soil Life Summit in Vegas. There, Prump is where.
That's only 2 years ago.
Yeah. Actually, it's coming up on 2 years this March.
Damn, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, I mean, just in the 2 years, less than 2 years.
Yeah,
I'm amazed at how much you've actually gotten done. So.
Yeah, about 3 years ago is what. So yeah, it's been really good. Guys, check out, get me some traffic on the YouTube. So let's get me away from concrete, get me doing this for a living. It's going to take popularity, right? I mean, people know and get the knowledge out, get my community involved. I'm working on getting some things going to get more and more people involved, but help each other grow.
Definitely plan to come on again, in 6-8 months, whenever it's convenient. I know you get a busy season in the spring and a busy season in the fall, so try to figure out a time when you're not killing yourself and give us another tour. I'd love to see, again, your improvements and your modifications and all the wonderful things you're doing there.
And maybe I'll have some.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and the energy that you obviously put into this. I mean, you definitely went the extra mile as far as creating these Zoom video clips and giving us a tour. I mean, I definitely enjoy very much so doing the microscope safaris. And I think the audience likes it too. I mean, you definitely got good questions as well as some interesting chatter in the group chat. So
good. Yeah, it's open to bring the heat. That's what we got to do.
All right. And Ken, thank you so much as always for making this happen behind the scenes. I apologize, boys, about last week. I had no choice. I desperately needed that piece of equipment up and running. Sorry to the audience as well to let you down. I try to make it every week, and once in a while I get into a snafu. So
well, quit breaking your equipment, Leighton, and then you don't have to get it repaired.
Dude, this was all like I've run that compressor hard for 15 years now. And I blew an air end on it. So I had to put the new air piston side on it. And when that new piece came, it had a cant against the other belt flywheel on the actual gas motor end of it. So it kept throwing belts left and right. It was a freaking nightmare. And finally, you know, I called the guy. I said, look, I am so done putting belts on every fucking 5 minutes. And I go, now they're twisting. So now they're stretching. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to come out there and we're going to just to do what it takes to get this thing tweaked into place, get as much of the cant out as we possibly can. And I'm leaving the following day and I won't be back for 10 days. So I was like, gun to my head, got to do it.
Yep.
That's manufacturing, guys. I mean, ever since COVID, you can't rely on standards and friggin' quality control on anything. I mean, to send me an airhead that had a cant on the pulley versus the one on the gas motor, that's crazy. But it is what it is. I don't want to complain anymore.
Kip, thank you so much, brother, for coming on. Always appreciate all the information you bring, and you know, watching your videos on your YouTube channel. It's great. Love to see them. Keep at it. But reach out to Matt from Shooting the Soil to help you get everything set up so that you're making it a lot easier on yourself to bring us.
I'm gonna try that app first and see if that'll set me straight. So that'll be good.
Yeah, OBS Studio is great, but it's got another learning curve. So everything keeps learning.
Right. Yep.
So
thanks, guys. Thanks, audience.
Yep, guys. As for the channel, we don't have anything until next Sunday. Which is Dr. Paula Ruffin bringing up some more information on what she's doing, helping the human body. And then next Monday, I'm actually hoping, Leighton, that you are interested in doing a review on how to build a horizontal soil system. If you're interested, I'll put something together and we can go in depth on actually building one.
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
It's really, I actually had Kevin Jodry texted me out of the blue saying, hey, just want to let you know, that soil horizontal system seems to be a real big hit. So word's getting out and people are, really enjoying the ease of it. We have made a couple of tweaks on better understanding the A horizon and getting it to perform a little better. So yeah, let's do it. Why not? We'll keep it to it up.
Remember, we got in before I built my A before that conversation you had with Tom. So that's why I'm kind of leery and watching closely about what's going on down there. I'm not going to jump to big changes right away without further testing. But I think we got a great harvest on our first run. I mean, obviously it could have been better, but I didn't bricks it. But wow, I mean, frosty, great,
So I think, again, the pH was the leading factor that was hindering Tom. Again, his production was fine. He just had these little spots that he didn't like. And once he figured out the ratio in the A and adjusted it, all of a sudden all those spots went away. And again, not that his harvest was a problem. It was just, he was just dialing it in, which is
I'm probably going to inject a little bit of heavy Dom into the A a little bit here and there.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely could do something that's gritty, right out of your machine. No sip. Get a turkey baster, man.
That's that or take my core or just kind of get, I don't know. I have an actual Venturi injector, so I haven't used it yet, but try that.
Cool.
There you go. All right. Well, Ken, thank you as always for all the wonderful hard work you do behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
I wish you and Silly a very happy new year and a blessed future. And you too as well, Kip.
Yep.
You as well. And the audience too.
Okay, guys. Happy New Year.